Hi, welcome to this overview of the Heavy Vehicle AP02 Endpoint Assessment Requirements. This presentation will cover the requirements and format of the three assessment types within the Apprenticeship Standard and Assessment Plan. The first assessment type we will cover is the online knowledge assessments. Knowledge assessments are split into two separate assessments. Knowledge Test 1, the engineering requirements, and Test 2, the wider requirements. Knowledge tests are conducted either at the apprentice's training provider, where the assessments are scheduled and invigilated by the training provider, or remotely accessed and invigilated by an IMI-provided proctor. Knowledge Test 1 consists of 35 questions. These questions will be in several formats and will include multi-choice, drag and drop, and labelling type questions. 5 of the 35 questions are hurdle questions. The apprentice must answer 3 or more of the hurdle questions correctly. The apprentice will be allocated 60 minutes to complete the knowledge assessment. The grading for this assessment is 80% and above to achieve a pass grade. This also includes the minimum of 3 or more hurdle questions. Knowledge Test 2, the wider requirement, also consists of 35 questions. Again, these questions will be in several formats that will include multi-choice, drag and drop, and labelling type questions. The apprentice will be allocated 60 minutes to complete the knowledge assessment. The grading for this assessment is 80% and above to achieve a pass grade. The questions within the knowledge test are based on the knowledge groups shown in the image. These details and further detail regarding the knowledge assessment can be found within the assessment plan for this standard, as referenced in the slide. As with the engineering question groups, the wider question groups can also be reviewed within the assessment plan as referenced in this slide. The second type of assessment for the heavy vehicle endpoint assessment are the skills assessments. These assessments are conducted in a workshop provided by the training provider, or alternatively, if requested, the IMI can provide workshops for these assessments to take place. There are 5 individual skills that each apprentice will complete. The first task, referenced to as Task A, requires the apprentice to conduct a safety inspection. During the inspection, the apprentice will make comment to the assessor what they are inspecting and what their findings are. The duration of this observation is 45 minutes. All skills assessments are observed and graded by an independent IMI assessor. Observation A, the safety inspection, is assessed and graded by the IMI independent assessor against the assessment criteria shown on this slide. The apprentice will be required to conduct the inspection within the 45 minutes and document the serviceability of the vehicle. Additional information relating to this assessment type is available within the assessment plan as referenced on this slide. The remaining 4 skills tasks are classed as Observation Type B. These 4 tasks will be conducted on the 4 specified systems as listed in the slide. 3 of the 4 tasks will have a duration time of 30 minutes, and 1 of the 4 tasks will be 60 minutes. For each of these tasks, the apprentice will be required to diagnose the faults and document on a job card what they have undertaken regarding their diagnostic process. Each of the 4 skills assessments for Type B will be based on the requirements of the assessment plan and aligned to the assessment plan as outlined on this slide. Each of the tasks will require the apprentice to correctly diagnose and identify the fault and complete a job card for each of the tasks. Each of the 4 Type B skills tasks have 3 questions the apprentice will be required to answer. The responses to these questions within the job card will contribute to the grade allocation of either pass, merit, or distinction. As with the knowledge assessment requirements, further details regarding the skills assessments can be found within the assessment plan. The final assessment type for the heavy vehicle endpoint assessment is the professional discussion. This assessment is conducted remotely with the IMI independent assessor and covers two elements: behaviours and technical application. An engineering manager will also be present during this assessment. The behaviours discussion is based on your behavioural evaluations that are completed within your employer and training provider during the apprenticeship period. The second part of the professional discussion is based on the apprentice's technical application and workplace requirements. Both parts of the professional discussion can be found within the assessment plan as detailed on this slide. Each heavy vehicle apprentice will be provided with access to the professional discussion checklist by the IMI. The checklist identifies each of the questions the apprentice will discuss during their professional discussion. The checklist can be populated by the apprentice and utilised as a prompt during the professional discussion. This checklist is available on the IMI website and is also provided when the endpoint assessment is booked for the apprentice. Prior to the apprentice progressing to their endpoint assessment, each apprentice must have completed the requirements listed in this slide. They must have completed a logbook throughout the duration of their apprenticeship. Each apprentice must achieve and be certificated for maths and English. All of these prerequisites must be submitted to the IMI prior to the apprentice progressing on their endpoint assessment. All assessment requirements and assessment types for the heavy vehicle apprenticeship are produced by the Heavy Vehicle Employer Group. All regulatory requirements for this standard is maintained by the Office of Qualifications and Examinations Regulation. Further details regarding this standard can be found on the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education website. I hope you have found this presentation useful and it has given you good understanding of the heavy vehicle endpoint assessment requirements. If you require any further guidance regarding the endpoint assessment process or how the IMI can support you, please contact us via the contact details shown.